everyone, and welcome to NameHero.com. In this video tutorial, I want to talk about hosting multiple websites with your web hosting package here at NameHero. There's a couple different ways to go about this, so I want to explain both ways and also talk about the pros and cons of each one. So right now I'm on the main page of NameHero.com. To start, I want to begin with our web hosting packages, just our basic hosting packages. So I'm going to click at web hosting here on the top. Now with these packages, we have 4 different ones. The majority of these packages, the main difference is the amount of visitors that you can get each month. However, the starter cloud only allows hosting for one website. So for today's tutorial, it's not relevant because it just allows hosting for one website. Typically, the people that buy the starter cloud are developers or startups that are just getting their website going, getting it started, don't really have a lot of traffic and looking for a very budget-friendly, affordable way to get online. There's nothing wrong with this package, but it's just, it's got 1 gigabyte of RAM, 1 CPU core. It's just really meant for a single-purpose website with not a lot of traffic. And as I said, we see a lot of people that are just getting started, they'll buy it, and then as they get ready to set their site live to the world or start expecting traffic, they'll upgrade to the Plus Cloud package. From there, you're allowed to host up to 6 websites, and you can see this right here, hosting for 6 websites. So this is going to definitely, this would be a factor in today's tutorial because I'm going to show you how to set up the first website, but then the second website that you'd want to add, and then maybe the 4th, 5th, or 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and 6th website. The Turbo Cloud, it's the next step. It allows hosting for unlimited websites. You're not limited to the 6. And the same with the Business Cloud. You're allowed to host unlimited websites. So after this, the main differentiating factor is the number of visitors you can get per month. And so this is collectively. This isn't just for one site. This is for all the sites together. So if you're hosting 6 websites, for example, that's saying that all 6 websites aren't going to get more than 25,000 visitors a month. So a lot of times, people look at that and that's really not a lot when we're talking about 6 different websites, so they'll go with the Turbo Cloud because it allows for up to 50,000 visitors amongst all the websites in the account. And then of course you have the Business Cloud, which allows for up to 100,000 visits a month for all the sites collectively. So the determining factor for this is the CPU cores and the amount of RAM. So the more RAM you have and the more CPU cores, the faster the site operates. So if you look at your computer, for example, if you have a computer with a little bit of RAM, it's slower. If you have more RAM, the more RAM you have, the faster it is. So like on all my devices, I have at least 64 gigabytes of RAM, so my computers are extremely fast. If you would compare that to like an 8 gigabyte of RAM computer, it'd be a lot slower. Now, obviously, a web hosting package is a lot different than a computer because you're really not running an operating system. The operating system's ran on the server level, so you're really just operating the subsection of that site. So 4 gigabytes of RAM is a lot for a single website on a server that's already has dedicated RAM for the actual operating system. And sorry to get a little technical there, but that's the main differentiating factor of this. And since we are in the cloud, it's important to note that you can always upgrade at any time, but most of the time we see people choose either the Plus or the Turbo packages. Those are the most popular ones. Websites that are more established, they go with the Turbo because they want at least 3 gigabytes of RAM, and then they always have the opportunity to upgrade to the Business Cloud. Those that are maybe just a startup that's off the ground, starting to get traffic, they go with the Plus Cloud. Really, we just see 1 or 2 websites hosted by this. If you're going to want to host more than that, you probably should go with the Turbo, just because 2 gigabytes of RAM, if you share that for 2 sites, essentially that's about a gigabyte of RAM per site. And so you kind of go back down to the starter level where it's really not good for production sites. So that's why I recommend if you're going to be hosting any more than 1 website with live traffic, go with at least the Turbo Cloud. And you can always go to the Business Cloud if you need it, but that just gives you a good starting point. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to set up a Turbo Cloud package, and I'm going to show you how to set up hosting for an additional website. So that's going to be our first option. So we'll start off with that, and then we'll talk about our second option next. So to get started with the Turbo Cloud, we're just going to click this package here, and we're going to set up the first domain. So this is the primary domain. Normally, this should be the most important domain on the account. This is your bread and butter site, so to speak. This is your primary website, and so that's going to be the name of the account. So you've got 3 options. One, you can register a new domain. The first year's registration is free for websites that are going for longer than a year. So if you're paying for at least a year up front, we throw in a free registration to help you save. If you already have your domain, let's say your domain's at a current web host, maybe Bluehost or HostGator, or maybe your domain's over at GoDaddy, and you want to use that domain you already have, you can transfer it to us, and that transfer fee is going to be free as long as you pay for a year or plus in advance. So I recommend doing that because it makes it super easy to change your name servers, and also our support team, if we manage both your hosting and your domain, our support team can help you a lot more. If you run into an issue with the domain, not the hosting, then we have to say, well, unfortunately we can't help if the domain's not managed in our interface, and so you have to go seek support from GoDaddy, or if you want to leave the domain at your old web host, HostGator, Bluehost, and you have to kind of seek their support, which I hear is getting more and more painful as the years go by. The third option means you already have your domain, and maybe you already have your domain with us at NameHero. We see a lot of customers that just buy their domain with us, and they wait for web hosting for whatever reason. Maybe your domain's at GoDaddy and you just don't want to move it yet. That's fine. You can do the transfer later if you'd like. But this just says that you already have your domain and you're going to take care of the name servers yourself. Now, I already have the domain I'm going to use today in my NameHero account, so I'm going to use option 3. My domain I'm going to use is keydiets.com. So I just enter key diets, and I enter the .com in this second text box. I'm going to click on use. Okay, so now we're just going to kind of review the options and configure it to our liking. First, we're just going to review that we are getting the Turbo Cloud package. It allows for unlimited websites. It's got unlimited SSD RAID 10 storage, unmetered bandwidth, the 3 CPU cores, 3 gigabytes of RAM. It comes with Lightspeed Cache. It comes with Cloudflare with Railgun and free SSL. This free SSL is a huge thing nowadays because after July 1st, 2018, any website without it shows up not secure in Google Chrome. So we're seeing, people just sign up in droves that do not want to go buy an SSL certificate. It comes free with your hosting package. This is up to like it starts at $70 a year at many places and goes all the way on up to $1,000 a year, depending on what certificate you buy. And this is coming free and automatic with your hosting account. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to buy anything else. You don't have to go configure anything else. It just works. So this is a major thing nowadays, especially with Google Chrome announcing they're going to show sites without it as not secure. So it's really no longer optional. So that's why we include it free and automatic. We try to keep your life as simple as possible. I've never been one that likes to do upsells and cross sells because I built NameHero off my own experience working online for 20 years. So I want to give you everything you need to build a successful, profitable, good website without having to get the hosting, then go somewhere else and get the domain, and then go somewhere else and get the SSL certificate, and nickel and dime. That's just not the way we like to do things here. So, for that, what that's worth. Next is choosing your billing cycle. The best price is on our 36 months. So this means that you're going to pay for hosting for 3 years up front. And you can see we have a different price for the different terms. So if you just go month to month, it's $19.95. Now we do have a summer promotion, which I'm going to talk about as we get to the checkout. But right now, this is our standard pricing. Again, we are in the summertime, so we still have our summer coupon code live for a couple more weeks. This will be changing over as we head into fall. So, I don't know when you're watching this video, but if you get an opportunity to save, I recommend taking it. I can't honor the coupon code once the summer sale's over because then we'll be in the fall sale and I'm not sure what that's going to be. So we have our 1 month price, 12-month price, 24 and 36. The majority of people, they pick the 36-month price because they want to save the most. And if you decide later on you want to upgrade to the business cloud, or maybe you want to go to a VPS, we can carry over the balance you already have to your new package and you're going to save. So you're not losing any money. And this also makes sure that you only have to make a hosting payment once every 3 years. Once it's done for 3 years. Worry about it then. People that go month to month, it's very frustrating for us as on our level because we see way too often people's credit card expires, or maybe someone's on vacation and they want to pay their invoice manually, or maybe their credit card was stolen and they've canceled it and they forgot to re-enter it in our interface. All these things happen and sites get suspended. Sometimes sites get terminated for lack of payment and the user didn't want their site deleted. So that's why, I've never been a fan of month-to-month hosting just because of that. Every 30 days you have to worry about this hosting payment. And right off the bat, it seems like, well, it's just $19.95 and it's more affordable in the monthly rate. But really, when you're talking about down the road, You save so much more by going to the 36-month price. That's what I recommend, but you do what's best for your business. Me, based on my experience working online since 1998, I recommend going as far out as possible, especially with your shared hosting. All right, drop my site, off-site backups. This at NameHero, we provide one night's backup for free. So we automatically back up every single account as long as you're not over 100,000 inodes or over 20 gigabytes in space, and we back up your files off-site once a night and retain 1 day's worth of data. Now, the majority of people, they like to keep at least 30 days worth of data. And so that's why we introduced Drop My Site, because some people that didn't care about backups, then the complimentary is good enough for them. But those that do should select this. It's $1.99 a month for 5 gigabytes of space, and you can upgrade at any time. So, I recommend just starting off with the 5 gigabytes, and then as your site grows, you can go on up, and our sales team will help you do that easily. But really, for $2 a month, it's going to handle 30 days of backups. So you have the complimentary nightly backups, then you have 30 more days of backups just in case you lose something. Because what I found myself is sometimes I'll delete a file or modify a file and go to bed, forget about it, and a day or two passes by, and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't mean to do that. Well, since we only retain 1 day of data for free, sometimes 1 day's backup's not enough because I changed the file 3 days ago and went about my day and kind of forgot about it until it was too late. So when we see this too with customers, and this is, one of those unfortunate things, they'll reach out to the support department and say, hey, I deleted or modified a file and I need to revert back to 3 days ago, not one. And then if they don't have this, then they're kind of out of luck. So for $1.99 a month, this will save you a headache. And most people do not realize they need this until it's too late. So don't let that be you. I'm speaking on 20 years of experience here. And I don't say that to be prideful. I say that because almost anything that can happen has happened to me. So I'm talking, just real talk here about what I recommend to be easiest on you. Finally, dedicated IP address. Very simple question, if you need one of these or not. Do you plan on using email with your hosting account? If the answer is yes, click this because you're going to need it. If you're using Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, then you don't need it, so don't worry about it. But this allows the highest level of email deliverability with a dedicated IP. That means it's only your sites on that IP address, and it makes sure your emails get through people's inboxes and don't get blacklisted. Shared IPs often get blacklisted because it's so many different sites using the IP. So, we offer the shared IPs because a lot of customers, they like to use Gmail or G Suite or use Yahoo Mail, or sometimes they have mail through their ISP, and so they don't need it. So if you do, it's $29.95 a year. That equals out to about $2.50 a month. And, so it's just that convenience. So we don't make you have it because you might not need it. But if you do, I recommend it. So, really about, for an extra about $5 a month, you get these extra features that just really make your life simpler. So if you want them and don't want to have the headache, get them. If not, then don't worry about them. So that's why we set them as options. Okay, so now we have our coupon screen. You can see with our current summer sizzler, you're going to save $238.64. So see, this is why I recommend going with the 36-month price. You're going to save a big portion off your hosting by going with the longest available rate. So if you go with a shorter rate, you don't save as much. So this is another reward we do for customers because we know that month-to-month hosting is a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt for us, and it's a pain in the butt for you, the customer. So we want our customers to sign up longer because it makes things run smooth. And that's what I want for you, is your stuff to run smooth and without interruption. So that's what I recommend. So we reward our customers by giving a tremendously big discount. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and complete my payment, get the account online, and then I'm going to show you how to add that additional website. All right, now I've completed the order, and at NameHero, we strive for 5 for 5 customer service or 10 for 10 customer service. We really want to provide an exceptional experience for our customers. And so that's why we present you with this quick survey. So if you're happy with what we're doing so far, maybe this YouTube video helped you out. We certainly do appreciate all 5 stars on these. After you fill these out, you have the ability to let other people know about our service. These will be displayed throughout our site and on our review pages. So, and you can follow up with this later on if you're not quite ready to do that. But if you are, we certainly do appreciate that. You have 50 characters to do so. We do ask you to enter your name, your email is just pulled in here. This is so we can follow up. So maybe you're not ready to enter a comment yet. And so we'll follow up via email here in a couple of days after you have time to settle in, so to speak. But this is not used for marketing, so don't worry about that. I can promise you we hate spam just as bad as you hate spam. We're not going to try to upsell you or cross-sell you with this. It's just to follow up on your comments there. But you just click submit. If you don't want to fill any of this out yet, I understand that, some people, they don't want this. I had one person that left us all 1 stars and they said, I don't want this when trying a new site. Well, if that's you, don't give us the 1 star. You just hit the X here. It's not required. We're just trying to improve our customer service and satisfaction because that's what we want to do for you is we want to provide you a great experience. We want to, kind of restore the faith in the web hosting industry. I know a lot of companies, as they get large, they kind of lose sight of what made them, and that's the customer. Here at NameHero, our investors are our customers, and so we've built this platform for you. I always tell my wife every morning, I get up and do what I love, and that's serving people through web hosting. I'm able to serve you and your business and really try to make your online experience a good one. So that's what we try to do here at NameHero. That's why we have the type of surveys. We're not trying to bother you or anything. Okay, so now I've got my order, so I'm going to continue to the client area. And the first thing I need to do is make sure my name servers are updated because remember I chose option 3. So I'm going to click Cloud Web Hosting and my main domain, I've got a couple packages since this is my demo account, is keydiets.com. So I'm going to click on it. And I'm given name servers. Now, these are also sent in your welcome email. So if you want to pull that up, you can. And also, if you hover over your name and go to email history, all your emails are logged there as well. We do that just in case you accidentally delete an email. You can see all the emails we've ever sent you right here. But I need to update my name servers because I said in option 3 I was going to do that. So I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to go to domains and my domains. And I'm going to find my key diets right here. And as soon as this comes up, I want to alter the name servers by clicking name servers, click use custom ones, and I want to paste in the first one, 27, and come in here and grab the second one, copy it, and paste it into the name server too. So if your domain is at GoDaddy or somewhere else and you don't want to move it to NameHero yet, then you just need to log into GoDaddy and update the name servers. Now once you do so, remember to click change because it's got to save. Now, when you do this, there's a period called DNS propagation. Anytime you alter the name servers, you have to allow sometimes up to 24 hours for everything to propagate, meaning for your hosting to be live on the domain. Most of the time in the United States, this happens within an hour or 2 because most internet service providers update their DNS cache a lot quicker than they used to 5 or 10 years ago or even 20 years ago. But still, if you visited your site recently before changing host, it could still be pulling the old host name servers. So what I recommend is if it's not live immediately, go give it 24 hours and come back and finish setting up everything. But sometimes an hour or 2 is sufficient. If you're an international customer, if you're in other parts of the country, it all really depends on your ISP. Sometimes you can go unplug your internet modem and router and it will reset those, but sometimes you just have to wait. So we always recommend, if nothing else, give it 24 hours and you can kind of be certain after that. Okay, so I've changed those. So now I want to go to cPanel. So Key Diets is set up. Keydiets.com is ready to go. Yes, my DNS has propagated. So this is just a blank page, knowing that now my domain's ready and I can start working on it. I can go into cPanel. Under Actions, log into cPanel. And this is where I can manage everything. I don't need extra software. I don't need anything else. I can upload files in File Manager. If I want to install WordPress, I can scroll down here to the bottom. I can click WordPress, install it. If I want to use another CMS such as Joomla, I can install that. That's Joomla 2.5 and the other Joomlas here. We have Drupal, all kinds of different programs or softwares that you can install. Magento is a big one. WHMCS is big for our resellers. So there's all kinds of software you can go ahead and start installing if you'd like. But really what I want to do now is show you how to add an additional domain, because remember, that's the purpose of this video, is with your hosting package here, you can host unlimited domains. So if you want to add another one, what do you do? Okay, so if I go back to my client area, I can go down here and I've got a quick shortcuts. So the easiest way is click Add on Domains from here. And I've got this new menu called Create an Add-on Domain. So I just went to the client area, clicked Add-on Domains, and I can add it right here. So if I wanted to add a second site, let's go out and let's go find a domain really quick. So I'm gonna go back to my client area, my domains, and let's say I wanted to add hosting for realbonds.com, just an example domain I have. I could copy that domain, go back to add on domains, and I can enter it in here, paste, and it's going to create a subdomain called realbonds, and my document root's going to be in the home/realbonds.com. If I want, I can create an FTP account separate right now, but I'm not going to, but you can do that now, or you can go back and do it later, and click add domain. Okay, now it's been created. So if I go back, you can see it's right here, but now I need to update the name servers for realbonds.com. So let's go back over here and click on this domain, and click on name servers, and I have to match these with this here. So I have to match the same ones I just did. So I have to copy this, I have to paste this in here for 27, and the other one's going to be 28. And now this is different on every package out there. So yours might be 27 or 28.namehero.net. It might be something completely different. So make sure you check in your client area, because under name servers is what's specific to your account. So I'm going to go here and click on change name servers. And once again, it might take up to 24 hours for your second site to be live. So in this example, realbonds.com, it might not come right up. So if I go here, click paste and go, you can see it's not going to come up yet. I did not change this one prior to this video, so it's still showing the old parked page here. So it's going to take maybe 24 hours for this to show, so I'm not going to worry about it. Just let it sit for 24 hours. It has been added because I see it under my add-on domains, and I can confirm here that I have changed the name server. So as long as they've been changed, just give it time to propagate, and this will eventually disappear. So that's really all there is to adding it. Now, if I go back to my cPanel's main page and say I want to go install WordPress on the second domain, I would go down here, click WordPress, and click Install Now. And when I go to install it now, it's going to ask me to choose my domain. So I can choose from keydiets.com or I can choose realbonds.com. See, I can choose either one of them. Now, this is a subdomain that it created because the way cPanel works, it kind of creates what's called an alias. So it's kind of a subdomain structure, but it acts as its own domain. So I could just click realbonds and I can go through and install WordPress. If I wanted it in a subfolder, I could leave this WP, or if I wanted WordPress to install right on realbonds.com, I would just delete that. So then I can begin installing WordPress on that secondary domain. So that's how you add an add-on domain. And the same thing is, if you want to use email, let's go back here to cPanel. If I wanted to create an email address for the second domain, if I go into, I'll just type in email accounts, and click it, when I go to create an email account, it asks me which domain. So I can choose the realbonds or the key diets, or even the subdomain if I wanted. If I go into my file manager, I have a new folder here. So public HTML, this is where Key Diets lives. Up one level, if you go to realbonds.com, this is where realbonds.com would live. So I would upload my files into the file manager for that one. So that's my different folders where the files live. So when you add an add-on domain, this means everything is in one cPanel account. Everything's shared. Your file manager is shared. Your emails are shared. Where you install WordPress is shared. So this works well for people with additional sites for themselves. If say I'm Ryan and I've got 4 different sites I need to host, I can put them all in here. But where we see problems with this is if you're doing a website for a client and the client wants their own cPanel, because cPanel only allows one login per user. You can't have multiple logins to cPanel. So this essentially means you would have to give your client the same cPanel as yourself, and everyone's sharing everything. So it's a huge security risk if you're doing it that way. And also, as I mentioned with our basic hosting packages, is you're all sharing these same resources. So you're sharing, for the Turbo, we're sharing 3 gigabytes of RAM. We're sharing 3 CPU cores. So this works for some people, that just have a couple sites. It's their personal ones. They can kind of gauge the traffic, and they're going to keep them updated and work on them. So it's a benefit. It works. But for sites that need more, and especially the developers out there, we have a lot of website designers and WordPress developers out there that have customers they're working for, and they need a way to add websites and multiple domains outside in their own new cPanel. And so that brings me to my second point here. Well, actually, let's talk about one more thing. The last thing I want to mention that's important about add-on domains is when you're sharing the same file manager, and especially when you're using content management systems like WordPress, if you have multiple WordPress installs in one cPanel, you must make sure they're all updated, because an outdated version of WordPress poses a huge security risk. If you have more than one domain, it poses even greater security risk, because if one of them gets penetrated, meaning if let's say we installed WordPress on Key Diets and Real Bonds. Let's say we kind of forget about Real Bonds over the years to come or months to come. Maybe it was kind of a side project, but Key Diets is our main site and we're working on it and we're building it out, but we still have a copy of WordPress on Real Bonds. We just don't keep updated. We don't keep secured. If someone is able to get into that WordPress, into Real Bonds, a site we don't even use, and they're able to get into it, then since these share the same file manager, they essentially can get into Key Diets and start causing havoc. They can essentially get into your whole cPanel and overtake it. And, it's unfortunate, but we do see this more than we would like, but it happens because people don't keep all the WordPress updated. They'll say, well, I keep my WordPress install updated on my main site, but they forgot 6 months ago, a year ago, they installed one on the secondary domain and didn't keep it updated. They didn't use strong credentials. So it only takes one to really cause a big problem and pose a huge security risk. So that's why I recommend, if you're going to use this feature of add-on domains, you can. That's there for your convenience, but you have to make sure that everything is always updated. If you install WordPress on a different domain, in my example, realbonds.com and keydiets.com, the main site, then you must keep both of those installs updated at the same time. You can use WordPress multi-site if you don't want to, but that doesn't work for some people either. But you have to make sure every plugin, every theme, WordPress is always updated, and they're releasing updates almost daily. So you have to make sure you're logging into each one and keeping them updated, because if not, just one incident could create a huge security risk for your account. So that brings me into my second option for hosting more than one domain. So this is our basic hosting. It's our most affordable and flexible for those just getting started. But if you already know off the top of your head, and you know that you're going to need hosting for like 10 websites, and maybe a website, maybe 3 of them are yours, and maybe the next 7 are customers, or maybe the next 7 are family members, and you're just trying to help them out. A better way to go about hosting a lot of websites is a reseller package. So let's go over there. I'm going to hover over Cloud Web Hosting and click Reseller Hosting. So our reseller hosting packages, they allow you to host unlimited domains in their own cPanels. So most of the time, a reseller buys these packages so they can obviously resell our hosting. They can offer our packages or their own packages for customers with the objective to make money. So a lot of times web developers will have a section on their site where they resell hosting. Well, this is also powerful for those that just need hosting for more than one domain and they want separate cPanels. So you don't necessarily have to be a reseller. If you are, we have WHMCS that comes with our corporate and kind of automated and billing. But if you're just needing hosting for multiple websites, you don't even need to worry about that. You can go with our startup package. It starts off at $9.95 or $9.57 a month. And this is sign up for 2 years. But really, for the cost lower than the Turbo hosting package, you're able to host unlimited sites all in one web host manager with separate cPanels. The major difference is the disk space. You're only allowed 50 gigabytes of disk space, where this one was unlimited. And bandwidth, you're only allowed 500 gigabytes of bandwidth a month. And this is collectively across all the sites you have versus the unmetered in here. So that's the main difference that we see. So it's really just, what your objective is. If you need to host unlimited sites, more than 2 or 3, and you need multiple cPanels, this is a smarter way to go about it. It's a more safe and secure way. So let's just go. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to sign up with the starter reseller package. So I'm going to click on Startup. And once again, you have 3 different options. And this is going to be your primary domain. For a lot of our resellers, this is the site that they're using to resell the services. So if it's like a web developer, this would maybe be their main website of their business. If you're an agency, maybe it's your main agency site. The main difference this is if you're going to use the private name servers, which remember how we just updated our name servers for these domains over here, and they were at namehero.net. Well, if you wanted to use your own name servers, so maybe these would say ns1.yourdomain.com and ns2.yourdomain.com, this is what it's going to be. It's going to derive from this domain. So this isn't required. You can still use ours, but if you want to look like a bit more professional, then it's recommended. So that's the main difference of what you want to use this for. So you have 3 options, and it's basically the same as we just went over. You can register a new domain as long as you pay a year or more in advance. The first year's registration is on us. If you want to transfer from GoDaddy or Bluehost or HostGator, the transfer fee is on us. Or if you want to do option 3, you already have your domain and you want to do your name servers yourself, you can do that as well. So that's the option I'm going to choose because I have a domain in my account. If I click on my domains, and I'm going to be experimenting or demoing with resellerhostingus.com. So I'm going to type in resellerhostingus.com. And again, I just enter the domain here and enter my TLD here. Click use. And once again, I'm going to configure. So I know I'm getting the startup hero. This comes with 50 gigabytes of disk space, 500 gigabytes of monthly bandwidth. It allows me to host unlimited accounts, unlimited cPanel accounts. I do not have a WHMCS license. Again, this is mainly for people wanting to resell web hosting. So if that's not to you, you're just looking to host more than one domain with its own cPanel. So you don't need WHMCS. Dedicated IP address, it does not come with one, but you can add one. Again, we didn't want to force that on anyone if they don't want it. And again, remember, this goes back to email. If you're going to be sending email, yes. If no, don't worry about it. You get a domain reseller account. And again, if you're not reselling domains, don't even worry about that. Free and automatic SSL. Every account you create will have a free SSL certificate. So if you're creating that account for your friends or family or customers, they get the free SSL as well. It's not just one domain. It's all the domains. Private name servers, as I explained, you can use the name servers at your own domain, and that comes with all of our reseller packages. Okay, so now we have our pricing options. As with the other package, the longer you sign up, the lower the price. And as I said, I recommend sign up for as long as possible. 1, to save, and 2, to where you don't have to worry about a friggin' bill every single month. This way it's just taken care of. You don't have to worry about that credit card lapse and all that stuff. And I have people fight me tooth and nail about this because on the front end it looks good, paying $19.95 a month versus having to pay a couple hundred up front. But I can't tell you how many invoices we see every single month that fail for whatever reason. Vacations in the summertime has been a big one, or just not able to get online. Some people have been unfortunately hospitalized. So life happens. Things come up. So I recommend signing up for as long as possible. You save more and it just makes life simpler. So I recommend 24 a month, but you make that decision for yourself. Now the drop my site offsite backups, this is for the primary domain only. This is because we look at that like your main site. So if you want to add that, remember it's up to 30 days worth of data. You can add it to your main site here. If you create additional sites and you want to add drop my site, reach out to our sales team. They will set it up for you. They'll have to put in a separate invoice. The way the system's automated, since we don't know if you're going to create 1 account or 50 accounts, we don't know. So we only give you the option for your main account that we know you're signing up for. So if you want to add drop my site to additional websites, you have to do that afterwards. So I'm just going to choose the 5 gigabytes for 30 days for a main site. Once again, that same question with the dedicated IP. Do I want to have email? Yes. Check it. If no, no. Email will still work without it, but it just doesn't deliver as well. So again, we see a lot of customers, they'll just go without it, start using the email, and they'll be like, well, I kind of want that dedicated IP. So then they come back and buy it, which you can do too. I mean, it's up to you. You can go back and order this later on, but I just, yes, email, then just get it now and let's just get this taken care of. That's what I recommend, but I try to, simplify everything because I feel like, life has so many decisions. Why not just get this knocked out now while we're doing it? WHMCS, if you want to add one of those licenses, if you're reselling or plan on reselling your space, WHMCS is some powerful reseller software. I've got tons of YouTube videos on it. I got tons of tutorials up here on our blog. So you can make that decision, but I'm buying this package not for reselling, just because I want to host more than one website under my account. So I'm going to continue on, and we've got promos for new customers. Since I just signed up with an account, I don't have a promo currently. So here's what the price is for 2 years for my reseller account. And remember, I can host unlimited websites with this as long as I don't use more than 50 gigabytes of space. So 50 gigabytes of space is a lot. The average WordPress website doesn't even use 200 or 300 megabytes. Now, once they start to get files in them, they might approach the 1 gigabyte mark, 2 gigabyte mark, but very rarely do we see a single site use 50 gigabytes. 50 gigabytes should be good for about 25 accounts. So realistically, you can probably host 25 accounts on this, and then you can always upgrade. That's why we have an entrepreneur package and then a corporate package. So as you start to approach that disk usage, you can always upgrade that. So once again, I'm going to complete this payment, and then I'm going to show you how to set the reseller account up that hosts multiple domains. Once again, we have this survey, so it's kind of the same thing we've already talked about before. But in case you skipped around the video, this is where, our main goal at NameHero is 5 for 5 or 10 for 10 customer service and satisfaction. So, if you like what we're doing here at NameHero, maybe these videos helped you. We do appreciate all 5s. If you don't want to do it yet, just click the X and you can go about your day. So it's, just something there that, we're always trying to monitor our feedback so we can continue improving as a company as a whole here at NameHero. Okay, so now with that said, I've placed my reseller hosting order, so I'm going to continue to the client area. I'm going to click on Cloud Web Hosting, and now this time I want to click on Startup Hero right here for resellerhostingus.com. And the first thing I need to do before I can add additional websites is set up my private name servers. Now, this is not a requirement. You can use our name servers if you would like. Just reach out to our support team and they can give them to you. Or I can show you how to use the private name servers, which is what most of our customers that have a reseller account do. Just kind of personalizes things a lot more, makes it look a lot more professional, especially if you're selling customers. If you're offering your customers web space, maybe you're a developer or a designer, just makes it look a lot more professional. Or even if you're an agency and maybe your agency operates multiple domains, it could be like landing pages for search campaigns or something. It just makes it a lot more professional looking. Okay, so I want to register these. So I need to go where the domain is registered. So if I go to domains, my domains, I want to find Reseller Hosting US, and I want to go to private name servers under manage. Click right here and here. Now, if your domain is not registered with us at NameHero, if it's at GoDaddy or Namecheap or wherever else, you actually have to go into their interface and register the name servers. I know we had a customer yesterday specifically. I was watching the ticket exchange between him and our support techs, and he just couldn't understand why he needed to register them in his domain registrar, because he said, well, the DNS is set up on NameHero's end. Why do I have to go to their end? Well, you actually have to bind the domain to the name servers. It's a security feature. So basically you can't be using someone else's domain for your name servers. It legitimizes to make sure you own it. So if the domain's registered with us, this is super easy. But if it's at GoDaddy or Namecheap, you have to go in their interface and do this. And they've got tutorials in their knowledge bases, but you can always ask their support team. Unfortunately, they're just a little bit slower. So anyways, my domain's in NameHero, so this is by far the easiest way to do it. So that's why I recommend having your domain with us. So I'm going to copy the IP address beside NS1, and I'm going to type in NS1, paste the IP address, click save, and it's registered. So now I'm going to get the second one. Copy this, NS2, paste the IP, save. Registered, done. I mean, 2 seconds it takes. As long as your domain's registered with us, this is simple. So now I'm going to click on name servers, and now I'm going to set Reseller Hosting US to use these name servers. So I'm just going to paste here, or click custom, and then paste here, and paste here. So now Reseller Hosting US is going to use the name servers ns1.resellerhostingus.com and ns2.resellerhostingus.com. Change name servers. Okay, now just like before, this could take up to 24 hours for me to be able to see Reseller Hosting US. Most of the time, an hour or two in the US, but we always give the warning 24 hours because I've seen some ISPs that take that long. And of course, we try not to be wrong. So, give it a little bit and then you should be good to go. All right, so now with a reseller account, you have a different interface. You have cPanel right here under Actions, but you also have login to WHM. WHM stands for Web Host Manager. Web Host Manager is what allows you to create multiple cPanels. So I'm going to click Login to WHM. And you can see I've got a new little interface here. And there's several different options on here, and you can go click through them if you'd like to learn about them. But there's only a couple that you have to use. So don't worry if you see all this stuff. You don't have to alter most anything in here. So the first thing we need to do, though, is create a package. So I'm going to type in add a package. Click here. And so this is going to be a package that we're going to create another account on. So you can name this whatever. If you're reselling hosting, name it something fancy. But if it's, just for your usage, maybe put 10 gigabytes. This is going to be the 10 gigabyte package. So disk quota, put in here 10 gigabytes this is a megabyte. So 10, 1, 2, 3 zeros for 10,000 megabytes. Bandwidth, let's just say you want to do, we have 500 gigabytes total. So let's just say 10 gigabytes again. So 10, 1, 2, 3 zeros. And now we can specify how many FTP accounts. If it's just yourself, I like to leave these unlimited, 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 everything unlimited. If you want to allow like park domains or even add-on domains in the cPanels, you can define those there. But since we have a web host manager, I just leave these to default. These packages are defaulted here, so you don't have to worry about those. And click Add. You just leave everything else default. So now that I've added the package, I want to create an account. So I'm going to type in, create, not X-create, create a new account. So for my example, we can go down here and we're going to use that Real Bonds again. Remember over here in My Domains, we had this realbonds.com. Let's say we want to create a cPanel for Real Bonds. So we can go in here and type in realbonds.com. Use the username realbonds, that's fine. Generate a password for it. Now this is going to be the cPanel password. So put this in a safe place. Write it down, copy it out, what have you, but make sure that's safe. You can always change it too, but it's easier just to do it once. This is the contact email address. If you ever lose that cPanel password, it allows you to easily recover it. So enter a contact email for this account. And then finally, we want to choose that package. I've got that 10 gigabyte I've already created, so let's just use that. Go down here, CGA, just leave this stuff default, all this stuff default. We're going to use the private name servers. Click Create. All right, it just takes a second to run the scripts, and it's created. So now the only other option I really use in Web Host Manager for a reseller is I type in list accounts, and you can see I host now Reseller Hosting US, my primary domain, but then my second domain's here, realbonds.com. And the cool thing about Web Host Manager is I can just click the cPanel logo and go into the respective cPanel for each domain. So unlike the add-on domains, these have their own cPanel, which means you have more resources. Our reseller accounts allow you to create accounts with 2 gigabytes of RAM. So each account you create gets at least 2 gigabytes of RAM. So you have that option, right at your fingertips. You have more CPU cores, and you can see this stuff right here under statistics. You have 2 gigabytes of virtual RAM, 1 gigabyte of physical RAM. The CPU cores is 100, which is 1 CPU core per account. So you have that. So you're not sharing those resources per domain. Each domain has its own cPanel. So if I want to go install WordPress, for example, and I'm in the Reseller Hosting US one, I would go down here and go to WordPress, click Install Now, and you can see I only have one domain in here. Likewise, if I wanted to install WordPress for Real Bonds, I would go into its own cPanel and go to WordPress down here, and I would install it in its own cPanel. Install now, and I just have the one domain. Again, SSL is free and automatic. All these domains will get security certificates. We could even check that by going to SSL, Manage SSL Host, and it will show their certificates. Now, these still say self-signed. That's because it takes about an hour or two once everything gets propagated, once your name servers get updated, for that to generate. So the SSL is free and automatic, but just like DNS propagation, it's not instant. It takes a little bit of time to get generated. So again, give that 24 hours, come back and check it. It should say let's encrypt, which means you are all good to go. So this makes it much more secure because each cPanel has its own login. So if maybe you have 3 or 4 sites, but you only want a developer to access the cPanel of one, well, you just give them that username and password. They don't see everything. If you're developing a site for a family friend or another business, they have their own cPanel. They're not into yours. Remember, if someone has your cPanel password, they can read all your emails. That's a big one there people don't think of. If you're using emails, people can read and see everything. So that's why, if you're going to host multiple domains, the basic web hosting is good for your own sites, for your own projects. But if you want other people involved, which a lot of times people do, it makes sense to use a reseller account to host additional websites. Here at NameHero, we also offer our VPS hosting. This is really an upgrade to the reseller hosting. So if you ever get too big and you need much more resources, our team can easily migrate all your sites over to a VPS, and we can also keep the same private name servers. We would just have to modify the IP, and our support team does an excellent job at helping you make that transition if you ever decide to do that. So kind of the reseller hosting is the next level, and then the VPS is after that. So it's really an upgrade from the basic hosting. The basic hosting lets you get started, but the reseller hosting allows you to host unlimited accounts and gives you access to Web Host Manager. So it's not just for resell web hosts. I think that's the biggest point I want to make here is that if you need to host multiple websites, I recommend using reseller hosting packages for the fact that you get additional cPanel accounts. Everything's not lumped into one. So really, it's up to you. I definitely wanted to film this video because we got questions recently, I noticed in the support desk about how to add add-on domains. So I realized we didn't have a lot of tutorials on that. So I wanted to give you a tutorial on 1, how to add on domains to your current cPanel, but 2, how to go about hosting more domains outside of the cPanel, so you have both options. So either option will work, allow you to host multiple websites. It's really which one is best for you and your business, and only you can answer that question. So if you have any questions over this video, though, feel free to comment on our YouTube. I'll get something on the blog as well, so you can ask on the blog there too. You can ask our sales team on live chat, give us a call, or shoot us a ticket. If you scroll down here to the bottom, we have a sales link right down here. Get in touch with Superhero. So you can fill this out here, and our team can help you as well. So if any questions, let us know. But just it's up to you. Which one works better? How many sites do you have? And if you let our team know that, they can make a suggestion based on their experience as well. So let me know if you have any questions on this video, or ask our team. But besides that, thanks so much for using NameHero's high-speed cloud web hosting. It's our absolute pleasure working with you and serving you and your business.